Hello, everybody. It is an absolute privilege and a pleasure to be here with all of you today. It's an honor to be able to keynote at this event. Honestly, I really hoped I could have been with you at the event altogether, but unfortunately, times being what they are, it's not going to happen this year. I have to say it's the first time in 3 years that I don't come to an event in Sweden, so I do miss all of you guys, and I really wish that I could physically be there with you. But enough about the introduction, and you know, today I wanted to talk about data literacy, and you'll understand a little bit more about how this topic is probably at the core of everything that we need to do in order to start to benefit from data within our organizations. But before going a little too deep into the topic, I wanted to introduce my organization. And I thought that instead of boring you with a 3-minute speech and me talking about what we do and what we don't do and how we do it and how great we are, I'd let a little video do the talking for me. Have the creative minds behind Ubisoft share with you a little bit about who we are. Better than what I could have done, of course. And honestly, every time I watch this video, I'm blown away by how large, complex, and magnificent the company I work for really is. That being said, you've seen it. It's better than what I could do in terms of introduction. But can you imagine how much fun I have working in an organization that deals with video games? Just think of the volume, the depth, and the breadth of the data that we produce and generate every single day with every single game. It's kind of like the dream of any data geek, and I'm very comfortable with qualifying myself as a geek. So enough with my company. I'm not going to walk you through an entire pedigree of myself. You have the little booklet. If you're curious, you can always hit me up. We can talk. But just to give you a little bit of background, as you know, I'm the head of enterprise data and business intelligence for Ubisoft, and I do teach data and analytics at university. But what really matters is the fun stuff behind all of this, and it's my family that supports me in all of my craziness, my passion for triathlons, which, by the way, I get to share with my eldest, which you can see in the middle over here, winning his triathlon, motorcycles, two wheels, boxing, all the fun stuff. But ultimately, I'm just lucky to be able to have this wonderful family that supports me in all of my craziness. And I do have a very special little young boy, which is over here with his little crazy smile and the blue shirt in the middle on the podium. But as you can see, he also hides behind the mask of Darth Vader, convinced that Darth Vader is his one and true friend. Cute, yes. Scary, a little. But to get into the meat of our subject, every single conference I've attended in the last few years has always spoken about the importance of artificial intelligence, about how everyone is spending money on artificial intelligence. Hey, everybody's doing it, so that means we must be all doing it too. If we're not, we're falling behind. I mean, it's the new oil, right? No, sorry. I heard that it's not the new oil anymore. It's the new fire. It's going to revolutionize our lives. So start spending money on AI, of course. And I'm sure that every one of us does, or every one of us wants to. I mean, I remember attending a conference for retailers not too long ago, just about a year and a half to 2 years ago. And every single vendor on the shop floor had the word AI in their name or in their slogan. And I guess we're all pretty much advanced, we're going down that path. We're all investing in AI after all. If you look at the statistics, spending in AI and in big data has increased year over year, 40% year over year for the last 3 years. More than that, just so you know, the spending on artificial intelligence is expected to hit $98 billion by 2023. That's a lot of billions of dollars. I think it's amazing. And we all know it. The value that can be delivered via artificial intelligence is massive for our partners, for our clients, in the healthcare industry, in the financials industry, in the gaming industry, in all of our industries. Except that honestly, it's really not all roses and butterflies. In fact, it seems that less than 15% of data science and AI projects ever make it into production. If anybody has a calculator and wants to figure out what's 87% of 98 billions, well, it's too many billions if you want my opinion. But that's not where it ends. And it's not because our data scientists aren't brilliant individuals. It seems like the problem is deeper rooted and lies in the fact that companies and people have a real hard time adopting and trusting AI solutions. In fact, 77% of businesses report that business adoption of big data and AI initiatives continues to be a huge challenge for companies. And with the amount of money we spend on, I think I can think of saying is ouch. And doesn't even end here, guys. I mean, it just keeps going. 80% of analytics insights won't deliver any business outcome. I'm shocked. I remember hearing people from Gartner saying that the majority of AI projects are going to remain alchemy run by wizards. Like, why? What is the problem? What's causing all of this distrust and non-adoption and lack of value from AI? It's actually quite simple. The fact is that we don't have enough data literate people within our organizations. It was said that by 2020, more than half of the companies won't have enough AI and data literate people to deliver business value. Well, guess what? We're in 2020. I agree. Prediction pretty much bang on. If we're spending $98 billion in a couple of years on AI and 87% of it doesn't deliver value, you can, bet your paycheck that it's in fact due to people that don't understand how to use data, how to read it, and how to embed it within their business processes. After all, according to CDOs worldwide, the second biggest internal blocker to success, as it relates to data, of course, is how poor data literacy is in our companies. How can we expect to spend all of that money, all those tens of billions in AI and in data science, when most of the people that we employ within our organizations don't even have the basic rudimentary blocks of data literacy? How can we expect to garner success when we don't put in place the basic programs needed to educate our people on what this data will do for them, how to use it, how to leverage it, and how to run our operations based off of it? I mean, it's a pretty rampant problem, and it's all over our organizations. I'm not even sure you guys realize, but did you know that less than 25% of decision makers are actually data literate? It's a bit better as it relates to our execs, but that's still less than a third of our execs that would qualify themselves as being data literate. So if we're going to spend their money, we might as well spend it on something they understand and they know will deliver value because they know how to make it deliver the value. But then what is data literacy? Why is it so important? Well, that's actually a pretty good question, and that's why I'm here today, so good timing. There are very detailed definitions of what data literacy is, and this is honestly as good a definition as any, and if you Google it, you'll find a million others, and I didn't invent this definition myself. Ultimately, data literacy is our ability to derive information from data, just as literacy is the ability to derive information from written words. For me, it actually came together a few years ago, actually, and I share that story with everyone when I talk about data literacy. So if some of you have seen me before, you may have heard it, but I remember a few years back, I was, putting my eldest to bed, and he was reading his book like for the first time pretty much, and he was just going through some of the words, and I was laying in bed with him and just reading it, and he was sounding out the letters into words, and at some point he just turned his head, looked at me, and he said, "Dad, the letters are making pictures, and I can see the story in my head." And I was like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And that's what data literacy is to me as well. It is seeing that data that may mean absolutely nothing to anybody, but garnering and deriving information from it, being able to see the data, being able to see it tell us a story coming to life and explaining things that we just did not know before. Yes, it means that you have to use some statistics and you have to understand some math concepts, etc., etc. But that's not the point. The point is that you look at the data and it is helping you educate your decisions because you know how to read it. And if you don't know how to read it, well, then it's just like me giving you a Shakespeare novel. You're not going to get anything out of it. You're just going to look at the letters and they're going to be mumbo jumbo. You're going to put them aside and you're going to invent your own story. Now, we want data literate people in our organizations. And just so you know, I've listed out what a data literate person is capable of doing. They know what data is needed, when it is needed, and how to apply it in the context of resolving their problems. They know that there are many different types of data that exist, and they know how to connect those different pieces of data in order to transform them into information, mapping those elements together, integrating them so that it can tell us a story. They also understand statistical methods, and they know which ones exist to support their analysis. Now, just like in any reality of life, different people will have different levels and different depths of expertise. Now, I'm not expecting everybody to be able to define which clustering method is best used. Should I use a k-means? Should I use a db scan? What should I be using on this model? That's not what I expect. That's not what we should expect from all of our people. Some, of course. But in general, what we would like to have is that they at least know there are statistical models out there that can help them. They know that there are different methods that can be applied. They know what a clustering problem is. They know what a classification problem is. They know the difference between the two. But again, going at deeper levels, that's where we have advanced analytics people, that's where we have data scientists, etc., etc. They also know how to therefore use all of that data in an effective visual manner to be able to recount that story they're trying to express and to embed their discoveries, the data elements that they found, and those insights from those data points into their business processes. I almost want to say, most importantly, and for those of you that know me, you've seen a lot of my talks on GDPR and on ethical data usage. Most importantly, it's about leveraging data in an ethical way, respecting the data and respecting the people who share with us their data assets. Don't forget, that data does not belong to you. It belongs to the people who have given it over to you. But it goes further than just GDPR and data governance. It goes with also leveraging data in an ethical manner to make decisions. Because we can twist data. There's a great book, How to Lie with Statistics. But there's also an ethical way of leveraging data in order not to try and twist it to say the story that we want it to say, but rather to tell us the truth. To share a trusted message with our management, with our colleagues, with our employees, etc. After all, data is pretty much at the core of everything that we do. Data is the lifeblood for artificial intelligence, for business intelligence, for corporate strategies, for digital transformation, how we experiment, developing foresight, and literally every other letter in the alphabet is fed via data. And if data is so important, then why don't we teach our people how to leverage it and use it? So how do we go about doing this? Well, it's relatively simple. Okay, it's not that simple, but it's perfectly doable. I've done it before, and others have done it before as well. I'm not inventing anything new here. But if you want to have a quick framework for data literacy, here are some of the things you should focus on. A lot of it is about planning and communication. Of course, you're going to be educating people. But it's also running a gap analysis to know what works, what doesn't work, where we are, and where do we have to go. For me, the most important part of this framework and of building a data literacy program is to understand and realize that there is no one-size-fits-all model in this context. Different places within the organizations, different teams within the organizations, and different people within those teams are going to be at different levels in terms of data lit. And it is your responsibility to tailor the program to make sure that the program that you are delivering, the classes and the trainings are relevant to everybody. And then to measure success and keep going at it. People will forget stuff, but it is your job to. When I talk about tailored programs, Here's an example of the ones that I had created not too long ago. A program on descriptive and self-service analytics, one on dashboards and data visualizations, and then a little further deeper for those that were more into the whole data science space, a fundamentals on analytics, with introductory sessions on statistical concepts, on data mining tools, on methodologies in terms of the algorithms that are available and how to use them, and of course, as I mentioned, ethics and governance. Now, a lot of companies that I've worked with in the past and worked for in the past, and even myself, to be honest, we spent a lot of time focusing on how to train people on a tool. This is the tool that we use. This is how we do it. This is how we build the report within the tool. You use this tool and everything will be better. Not always the case. I mean, it made them good with a specific piece of software, but if they still don't know how to grab the data and how to embed it and analyze it so that it helps them with their business processes, then what's the point? You've just trained them on a tool, but you haven't taught them how to use the data in order to improve the business. Well, that's why I feel that it's not about software. It's about the people. It's all about the people. They are the truly most incredible appreciating asset that we have in our organizations. And if we invest properly in their education, in teaching them how to leverage data to its fullest, it will be paid back hundredfolds to us. But if you don't focus on helping them understand the beauty of what data can do for them, well then, you're just going to continue spending those $98 billion and get an 87% failure rate, which frankly, I don't think any of us are good with. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to learn about data and we're here to use it to make our companies better. So just to finish this off, I've spent time with those programs. I've had fun building them. And I went out and collected feedback on those different programs. And I can tell you that literally 100% of respondents of the surveys that were sent out after any of the training programs says that their analytical skills improved, that they felt it was relevant, the content was relatable, that it was applicable to their reality, because most importantly, the most effective aspect of a training is when it is tailored, when it is adaptable, and when it is built around the use cases. Hey, some of them even said that they found analytics to be fun and couldn't believe that they found analytics to be fun. Ultimately, what I am trying to tell you is that if data and AI are going to be what makes your company grow and expand in these very, very special times, well then being literate as to how to leverage this data, how to leverage artificial intelligence is really the only way you will survive. Now it's possible. It can be done. I've done it. Others have done it. Just make it fun for your people. So go out and build a data literacy program. I really appreciate your time today. I wish I could be there so that we could go off on a side and continue to discuss this topic. Unfortunately, that is not the case. But please feel free to add me onto LinkedIn if you want to. I am happy to guide you towards resources and materials that I've used. I'm happy to continue the conversation, and it has been an absolute pleasure being with you guys here today and keynoting at this fantastic event. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Have a wonderful day.